Ho Lam also posted a really helpful and fun video like JL did. And I just want to say my thanks, appreciation, because these videos, they all add another dimension to Cubism, right? We should be looking at Cubism the way a Cubist painting teaches us to look, from many, many angles. One of my favorite graphics they use is this one where they take a frame and imagine the Cubist fragmented, complex, dynamic forms as projecting out.
Always needs a watershed moment. And for visual culture at the beginning of the 20th century, this was...
That's very clever, because part of Cubism is really understanding space as something haptic. That's an art historian word for based around the sense of touch, that you're feeling the space and that the space is moving towards you as well as around. It's a field of push and pull that you can experience with your hands as well as your eyes. And that's important in terms of really understanding how much Picasso, especially, learned from African art, how in awe of African art he was. He credited it with transforming his entire way of thinking about art. And this video does a very nice job. Let me click on play for a moment here.
Like faces and paintings. Besides Cézanne, the Cubists were greatly influenced by African and Native American cultures, Assyrian and Egyptian art, and Iberian sculpture.
So they allude to that.
Picasso once said that he learned what painting was really about after seeing African masks at the Ethnographic Museum in Paris.
So they're right. They're saying, according to Picasso, he learned what painting really is about when he looked at African masks on view in Paris. And one of the things he learned was that spiritual power is more important than mimetic illusionism, more important than what an artwork looks like or whether it looks like real forms, is how it tells us about the intense power, spiritual forcefulness of those forms. So we're looking at this marvelous spirit spouse sculpture, very beautiful. This is the kind of great conceptual beauty that Picasso admired so much. And I say conceptual beauty because we perceive the beauty with our eyes, right? But this beauty is also appealing to our minds, to the way that the form, the figure, is clearly evoking a female body, and yet that has been formed into a distillation and a transformation of the female body with a kind of very noticeable rhythm of in and out, space pushing forward, pushing back, a dynamic movement coupled with a kind of real solemn inwardness, the smoothness and the sharpness. He's understanding how the artist is playing with emotion by playing with form. And that profound insight liberated him from trying to represent the look of natural forms to realizing that the job of art is to represent how he thinks about those forms, how he thinks about these women in the brothel. And what he called this painting was his first exorcism painting, as in exorcising your demons, his fear and loathing that he associated with the desire he experienced in going to the brothels. And one scholar has linked that to his actual fear of syphilis, a terrifying and at the time untreatable disease that often led to massive facial deformities. So there's this feeling of the art expressing the depth of the mind's intense and complicated experience of the world, rather than just what the world looks like.